Hi, welcome to AFTV. I got Robbie with me. We've just lost 1-0 to Newcastle here at the St James's Park. Bloody hell, we was out last night. I felt like the players were bloody out with us with the way they performed today.
Yeah, they must have been out. They must have been out because, a bit like what Lee said, there's nobody you can turn around and say, last year we left there's a bit of injustice. We felt
it was blaming the refs and stuff.
There's no blaming and no refs. There's no blaming of anything else apart from those players today were really, really poor. Really, really poor, I felt. You know what I mean? When you play football, if you're a kid, you're playing football and that, the first thing the manager says to you or the coach is win your individual battles on the pitch. Those players today won no battles. Nobody won really won their individual battles. You know what I mean? Especially in the midfield. They dominated the midfield. Up front, we were really, really poor. I mean, Martinelli today, he didn't get past his player. Basically, they just adopted a policy, just show him down the line.
Yeah.
He ain't going to do nothing.
Yeah.
Let him run down the line. Yeah, he's quick, he'll run down the line, just get a little block in, boom. No end product. Saka was quiet. There was basically hardly any sort of service into Saka, or it was poor service. And then the midfield was poor. Declan Rice, that was one of the worst games I've seen him play for Arsenal. Marino was poor. Trossard was poor. The midfield was poor, and their midfield was really good. You know what I mean? They were very physical. They,
where was our physicality?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Where was that?
It's weird.
It should be revenge. We should be getting. They should have been up for today.
You know what? We started the game well. After the first sort of 15
did.
minutes, up until they scored, I was thinking, all right, I like this so far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like when we played against Bournemouth where we started slowly. But once they scored, after that, we were absolutely non-existent. In that second half, did we even have a shot on goal?
No, I think we ended up with one shot on target, and that was in the first half. I feel that was the worst performance that I've seen from Arsenal this season. Really, as a whole? Because
the other games you can turn around and say, right, we're down to 10 men away from home. Like Bournemouth, right, it's 10 men. What would we have done in the second half? If we would have had 11, would be. But this one, we came nowhere near scoring. Even the subs that came on did nothing. And then if anything, like the subs, like Zinchenko for me, when he came in, he slowed it down, made things slower, gave the ball away. We kept giving the ball back to them, basically they scored their goal, a bit like what Lee said, got their goal. And I said this last night, I said it's very important that we try and score first because we know what they'll do. If they score,
dark arts for them.
And, listen, fair play to them. I thought they defended brilliantly. Yeah. They defended brilliantly, they had a great shape, and they were, we just could not break them down in a million years. And that was a really, really poor performance by Arsenal. You know what I mean? At least if you're playing poor, get a draw then.
Yeah.
Come out, even though that wouldn't really have been enough, but try and get a draw. But I just didn't see, what did we do to score a goal? Jesus came on, did absolutely nothing. Didn't get past his player once. Yeah. Everything was just sideways passing. There wasn't like hardly any decent. What did we do?
Nothing in the midfield. Honestly, no creativity. Let me ask you this: is there a problem in the fact that, remember when we conceded, Rob, I was obviously sat next to you and I said, it's right, it's early. It was like the 14th minute. I said, there's time.
Loads of time to get back into the game. Loads of time to get on the front foot. But we just created absolutely nothing. We were poor from set pieces. We didn't really do nothing from them. Again, we got to give them a lot of credit as well. I thought they defended really, really well. They made it really, really tough for us. Defended really, really well, but we just did not knock on the door. We weren't knocking on the door enough, and as I said, when they were breaking out now, we weren't winning our battles. And I'm just like, I'm really, really shocked at how poor we were today. That was bad. Is
it fair to say, because there's some fans here that you might have had some, Arsenal blinkers on, because some fans I've spoken with, they would say, did you not see this coming? Because some of the performances leading up to this game haven't really been that great. If we're being honest, we've got over the line. I know there's been, players being sent off and stuff, but the performances, if you're going to be really critical of Arsenal, haven't been to the level that we saw of last season.
Listen,
so is that fair?
you go through a season and you'll have little periods where you're not playing at your best, right? We had it last year. City are having their period at the moment where they're not at their best, are they? They scraped to win against Southampton. They scraped but they were wins. Yeah. Right? So that's the thing, when they're going through their bad period, they're still able to, like the other day they won 2-1 at home against Wolves, bottom of the table in the last second of the game. But that's what they've been able to do. But we when City came in, they drew. They didn't play well that day, but they got a draw. So they've been going through their period where they ain't really been, but they've still been getting the victories or a draw.
Yeah.
Whereas, we're going for a bad period and we're not getting the wins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's 2 defeats on the road. Here's always a really tough place to come to. The real damaging one was that Bournemouth one, which then puts pressure on this one. You've got to come here and do something. And I was just so disappointed with that performance today. Like, it was really, really bad. I mean, give me even one positive about that performance today. I cannot think of one positive whatsoever throughout that Arsenal team. And that's from 1 to 11. And then the subs who came on. Nobody did anything at all. Nobody.
Well, that's a problem. And like Lee said, listen, he's seen title-winning teams. I've seen title-winning teams, and this is not what you see from one. We got a tough fixture on Tuesday in the Champions League away, and then we got another tough fixture against Chelsea away, who seem to be finding a bit of form as well. So, for you, is it now time to start changing our aspirations as an Arsenal fan, saying, listen, the league's probably not one we're looking for, or do you still...
No, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? You've got to still keep fighting. You know what I mean? You can't just like throw the towel in because you're points behind Man City. You got to... The players have got to look on it now and say, right, we now have to go on a run. We have to go on a run. Start restoring back some pride. Go and beat Inter Milan and get a bit of pride and a bit of confidence. So when you go into that game against Chelsea next week, you go there with something. This was always going to be a hard run, by the way. If people let's remember, we lost there last year as well.
Yeah.
Before people forget that, we lost there last year. And last year against Chelsea, we were losing 2-1. And we got like a little last minute, it was right near the end, that was a Declan Rice, wasn't it? We got a draw there. So these 2 games were always going to be really, really tough, because even last year we did badly in these games. But the difference was last year we hadn't lost to Bournemouth, so that put even more pressure on us.
Yeah.
Right? So that means that we needed to do something in this, and we haven't. It was poor today. That was a real bad response. Last week you could look at the Liverpool game and say, well, you know what? Adversity, injuries.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at that at all today. That was quite a strong team out there today. All right, no Ben White from the start, but Gabriel was there, Saka was there. Saliba's back. You know what I mean? That's a strong side. No excuses. No excuses about that. You can't make excuses, even I think about saying things like Odegaard. We miss Odegaard. Odegaard's been out for ages now, right? That team there should be doing better than... What did we create? What did we... And creativity don't just come from one player. It's got to come from, we've got to find a way. We've got to find a way to create from other players. And the sad thing to say today is that we lost our battles everywhere across that pitch. It was not good enough. The goal that we gave away was poor. It was just like... And then the amount of times we were giving the ball away with, without pressure, but sometimes not even under any pressure. And you got to say, Newcastle deserved the win. You know what I mean? They played really, really well. They got their goal, and then they just said, all right, come, which we've done sometimes. They said, just come and break us down, and we couldn't. And they dominated the midfield. Bruno, Guimaraes, and that, they dominated the midfield, and we didn't get a kick. We didn't get a kick today, and I'm really shocked at how poor we were today. That was a real shocking performance.